Hi, my name is Saurabh. I'm the founder and CEO of Scrum Academy in Cologne, Germany. Today, I will talk to you about Scrum, how it works, and how the mechanics look like. Scrum is a simple framework to build better products in a better way. As with any other product initiative, Scrum starts out with an idea. Usually, that idea is provided by a group of people that we refer to as stakeholders. These stakeholders could be internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders are usually other groups within the organization, senior leaders, up to the CEO. External stakeholders could be key clients who've asked us to build something for them specifically, or a lot of stakeholders, a lot of clients, so for example in the case of Facebook with 2 billion plus customers. Now, usually that group of stakeholders, or at least a part of that group, also provides the budget for the initiative. Scrum as a framework does not cover the process on how the budget is assessed or how you ask for a budget. You still need a budget independent from whether working agile or not. Now, this idea and the budget is handed over by the stakeholders to the first role within Scrum. That's the role of the product owner. The product owner's main objective is to create something of value for this group of stakeholders. And something of value would result in tons of happy stakeholders. Usually, this product owner can't do that just by themselves. Therefore, within Scrum, we get to the second group, the second role, which is the development team. The development team has two key characteristics. The first one is that the development team is cross-functional, which means that it contains all the capabilities to deliver that product in its individual increments. The second characteristic is that the development team is self-organized. This does not imply that the development team has to do everything themselves. They have other roles to support them. For example, the product owner providing guidance in terms of what to work on and in which order. But the development team, as a self-organized entity, also needs decision-making authority. This is one of the most important things that a lot of organizations get wrong. The third role within Scrum is the role of the Scrum Master. The Scrum Master supports the development team, the product owner, and the whole organization in applying agile ways of working, especially Scrum, in the right way. So each of these roles has designated areas of expertise and authority. The product owner is in charge of what we build and the priority. The development team is in charge of how we build it from a technology perspective. And the Scrum Master is in charge of how we build it from a collaboration and from a process perspective. These three roles combined are called the Scrum team. On our journey to the very first sprint, we need various things. The Scrum team is number one on this journey. The second item of our journey is the creation of working agreements. It is usually the Scrum Master's responsibility that working agreements are in place. Doesn't mean that the Scrum Master has to create them by themselves. Ideally, the Scrum Master gathers the product owner, the development team, maybe even some of their key stakeholders to co-create the working agreements of this group. Working agreements capture our shared understanding on how we want to collaborate. Next is to create a shared understanding in terms of where we want to go as a collective. We refer to this shared understanding as the product vision. Compared to the working agreements, the product vision is first and foremost a responsibility of the product owner. Again, it doesn't mean that the product owner creates these product visions just by themselves. A great product owner would gather the development team and their key stakeholders to co-create a product vision, which is our North Star. It highlights where we want to go without telling us in detail how to get there. Every good product vision includes four things. Number one is, who are we building this product for? Number two would be the desires, the needs of this specific target group. The third thing is what this product looks like in general. What kind of product is it? And maybe what are its unique value propositions towards clients? As usually, every new product is in competition to existing products. Last but not least, it's also important to include what kind of value does this product add for us as an organization? How does it pay towards our strategy? Last but not least, we need to create a list of clear requirements with which the development team can start working. These requirements we refer to as product backlog items, and combined they build the product backlog. Every product backlog has several key characteristics. Number one would be that there is a clear order, a clear priority for every single item in that backlog. Based on that order, based on that priority, we would detail the ones at the top and leave the ones further down a bit more broad, cloudy. Also, every product backlog is emergent, which means that it's a living document. New items come in, other items go up, the priority changes, and some items we just delete them and don't work on them at all. Once we have the team, its working agreements, the product vision, and the product backlog, we can start with our very first sprint. Every sprint consists of a series of recurring events. Each sprint starts out with sprint planning. During sprint planning, we want to identify what is our goal for this specific sprint, what and how many items are we going to work on, and how are we going to deliver on those items. It's usually the product owner, the development team, obviously the Scrum Master, and maybe even some of their key stakeholders participating in this event. The output of our sprint planning meeting is the sprint backlog, which captures all the work that the development team is going to work on. Next comes a phase which we refer to as the delivery phase. The result of that delivery phase is our product increment. And in order to get there in a systematic and synchronized way, every development team does so-called daily scrums or daily stand-up meetings. In most cases, the product owner does not participate in daily stand-ups, but they're also not prohibited from participating. Once we have finished our product increment, so close to the end of the sprint, we have two events left. The first one is our sprint review, during which we inspect and adapt what we have built with our key stakeholders. This is an event during which we learn whether we've done the right things to get closer to our product vision. Our stakeholders interact with us, provide us with helpful feedback, and that feedback are usually new product backlog items which go back into our product backlog. The position they go back into the product backlog depends on the product owner's decision. If they're super urgent and very important, the product owner might put them at the top. If they are less important and less urgent, the product owner might prioritize them further down. The important thing is that it's the product owner's decision to put the items in the appropriate place within the product backlog. Last but not least, we have our sprint retrospective. Compared to the review, where it's all about what we have built, in the retrospective we talk about how we have worked, how we have collaborated as a team. That event, the retrospective, is very actively facilitated by the Scrum Master. Great Scrum Master spends significant amount of time to prepare a great retrospective. The outcome of a retrospective is a clear action item of what we want to do differently in our next sprint. As the Japanese refer to it in the lean way of working, we refer to this item as a Kaizen. Kaizen stands for good change. We could also say improvement. Now, you see that after planning the dailies, the review, and the retrospective, we get back to the next planning event. If we had taken the most important and detailed items from our product backlog into our very first sprint, We now face a product backlog that has a lot of large, not so detailed items in it. This is not something that a development team and a product owner can work with in a good way. What we encourage teams to do are so-called product backlog refinement meetings. The objective of a product backlog refinement is to put our product backlog into a place that it's ready for the next sprint planning. That means getting back to the characteristics, that it's prioritized, that the items at the top are well defined and clear with regards to detail, and that the team in general has enough items for them to pull in to their next sprint. Now, we go through this cycle sprint by sprint by sprint by sprint. And ideally, with every single one of these sprints, we create product increments that meet a certain level of quality. And as we've gathered feedback from our stakeholders throughout this time, we increase the chance that our final product meets the stakeholders' needs and desires and makes many of them happy. This means that we've met the product owner's ultimate objective of creating happy stakeholders. This is Scrum in a nutshell. I really hope it was insightful for you and helps you with a better understanding of the simple framework. We are going to create more and more videos in the upcoming weeks and share them with you. Feel free to share your feedback with us. Thanks for listening. Sora.